What the Himalayan porters, Arctic cold adapters, and desert nomads have in common. They've learned to thrive where humans shouldn't. Today isn't about romanticizing hardship, it's about stealing practical ideas from people at the edge and using them at sea level, in a normal life, without a sled dog team, a yurt, or a Sherpa. If you've been looking for longevity habits that build resilience without adding 2 hours to your day, this episode is your blueprint. If you're new here, welcome to Longevity Compass, where we turn big science into daily routines that actually fit. Tap like and subscribe so we can keep making high-value content for you, and check the description for a short list of vetted tools and our Amazon KDP book that brings sleep, movement, recovery, and nutrition together in one practical plan. Let's start at altitude, where the air is thin and biology gets creative. Most of us compensate for low oxygen by breathing harder and making more red blood cells. That works for a while, but if you overshoot, your blood turns into something closer to maple syrup, thick, high pressure, and not exactly longevity friendly. Highland peoples solved this puzzle in different ways. Tibetans and Sherpa didn't just crank hemoglobin, they tweaked a master switch called the hypoxia-inducible factor pathway, especially the EPAS1 gene, which lets them keep thinner blood while delivering oxygen efficiently. In their muscles, you also see mitochondrial changes that make energy production more economical when oxygen is scarce. Think of it as high performance on eco mode. Andeans, by contrast, often push hemoglobin higher. It works, but it can come with trade-offs later in life: headaches, disrupted sleep, and in some cases chronic mountain sickness. There's another elegant thread here: nitric oxide signaling. Highlanders such as Tibetans tend to have higher nitric oxide levels, which open up blood vessels and keep oxygen moving. You can't gene edit yourself into a Sherpa, but you can follow the theme: train efficiency. Sprinkle in steady aerobic work, try nasal breathing on easy sessions, and if you live near the hills, take occasional day hikes or even an overnight at moderate elevation. If mountains aren't an option, some clinics offer supervised intermittent hypoxic exposure paired with gentle exercise for older or deconditioned adults. That's not a do-it-yourself, hold your breath and hope stunt. It's measured, monitored, and designed to build capacity safely. One interesting footnote: large, real-world datasets hint that people living at moderate elevation often have lower all-cause and cardiovascular mortality. That's correlation, not destiny, but it's a consistent nudge that small, repeatable oxygen stress may sharpen the system over time. Now, swing to the other extreme: cold. Cold is more than discomfort, it's a whole-body message. Short, controlled doses can activate brown adipose tissue, or BAT, a type of fat specialized to burn fuel to keep you warm. People with more active BAT tend to show better metabolic profiles in big datasets, fewer glucose problems, friendlier lipid numbers, and lower cardiometabolic risk. There's also a powerful lesson from Arctic peoples. The Inuit, for example, bear genetic tweaks in their fatty acid enzymes that align with a marine, omega-3 rich diet. That doesn't mean everyone should copy a whale blubber protocol. It means biology, diet, and environment handshake over generations. Meanwhile, mechanistic research suggests that brief cooling triggers proteins like RBM3 that help protect synapses during cooling and rewarming, an intriguing brain health pathway still being translated. In real life, many people report steadier mood and improved sleep with regular, modest cold exposure, but responses vary with dose and protocol. If you want to experiment, start small. End your normal shower with 30 to 60 seconds of cool water, warm up actively afterward, and never do breath holds in water. Avoid cold exposure when alone, after alcohol, or immediately following exhaustive workouts. And if you have cardiovascular disease or arrhythmias, get medical clearance first. Cold is like seasoning, enough to brighten the dish, not so much that you ruin dinner. Heat is the mirror image. For desert nomads and tropical laborers, heat is the adversary that becomes a teacher. Over 7 to 14 days of exposure, your body can expand plasma volume, drop your resting and exercise heart rate, start sweating earlier and more efficiently, and reduce core temperature at a given workload. That's heat acclimation, and the performance benefits often spill into cooler conditions. You can acclimate actively by training in heat, or passively with heat after training using a sauna or a hot bath. In Finnish cohorts, people who sauna frequently tend to have lower cardiovascular and dementia risk over time. These are observational signals, not magic pills, but they line up with plausible mechanisms: better blood vessel function, improved blood pressure control, and heat shock protein signaling that helps cells handle stress. There's also a clothing lesson that fashion rarely teaches. Bedouin robes are loose, sometimes black, and multi-layer. That seems counterintuitive until you realize the robes block the sun and create a chimney effect. Air moves, heat lifts off the skin, and the body vents efficiently. The modern takeaway on hot days: loose, long, breathable layers beat tight and skimpy. While we're here, let's retire a hydration myth. Drink as much as possible isn't a strategy, it's a risk. Both dehydration and overhydration can be dangerous. In long, hot sessions, drinking to thirst and adding electrolytes when you sweat heavily beats rigid gallon-a-day rules. If your summer plan is a black t-shirt and stubbornness, congratulations, you've discovered the opposite of physiology. There's another group that teaches durability without yelling about it: mountain porters. Himalayan porters routinely carry loads near body weight over steep ground. Lab and field studies show they do it more economically than backpacked controls thanks to skill, pacing, smart posture, micro rests, and load distribution, not superhero DNA. That's good news for the rest of us. You don't need to mimic the loads, you can mimic the pattern. Add rucking, brisk walking with a small percentage of body weight in a pack, 1 to 3 times per week. Start with 5 to 10% of your body weight, keep your pace conversational, and stand tall. Take micro rests whenever your posture slips. This is joint-friendly strength, cardio, and connective tissue training in one habit. If you want to round it out, practice short farmer's carries with dumbbells for grip and trunk strength. It looks simple because it is, and that's why it's sustainable. Finally, let's talk about light, the forgotten drug. People who overwinter in Antarctica often drift into delayed circadian timing, poor sleep, and low mood. The fix is aggressive light management. Bright, blue-enriched light in the morning and low, amber light at night, paired with consistent schedules for sleep, meals, and activity. You can use that same rule anywhere. Spend 30 to 60 minutes in outdoor morning light most days. In the evening, dim your home 2 to 3 hours before bed, put screens on night mode, and keep a regular sleep and wake window. Anchor meals and training at predictable times. When nature removes a strong time cue, you must create one. When modern life scrambles the cue, you must protect it. Let's put this together into a simple plan you can actually keep. Pick one lever this week and make it automatic. You could choose a weekly heat dose, 2 to 4 sauna sessions of 10 to 20 minutes if you're cleared by your clinician, or a hot bath after workouts for 10 to 15 minutes, rehydrating well afterward. You could choose tiny cold. Finish your showers cool for 30 to 60 seconds and walk around for a minute afterward to warm up. You could choose altitude-inspired conditioning, an occasional hike at moderate elevation if you live near hills, or a supervised hypoxic program if you're older or deconditioned and have medical support. You could choose to ruck, 1 to 3 sessions per week with a light pack, or simply add short carries to your walks. Or you could choose circadian anchors, morning light, evening dim, and regular meal and training windows. You don't need all 5. You need one, repeated often enough that your nervous system can trust it. As for the evidence, here's the honest snapshot. We have stronger signals for heat acclimation, sauna associations, hydration to thirst, better economy in load carriage with skill and pacing, moderate altitude correlations with health, and rigorous light management for circadian control. We have exciting but emerging stories about brown fat, cold shock proteins like RBM3, and supervised hypoxic conditioning for older adults. The right move is to leverage what's strong now while exploring the promising edges carefully, with safety in front. If this gave you a new lever to try, hit like so the algorithm knows to show this to more people who need it. Feel free to subscribe if you want more practical, evidence-based strategies you can use and implement immediately. Lastly, feel free to check the description. We've linked a few truly useful tools, like a reliable electrolyte mix, a Rucking insert that makes load comfortable, and simple blue light dimming options, plus our book, Longevity Compass, that turns these ideas into an easy, week-by-week plan. You don't have to live at 15,000 feet or nap in a snowbank to be more resilient. Small, repeatable doses of heat, cold, load, light, and, when possible, altitude, will push the same ancient buttons the experts of the edge use every day. Pick one today, make it automatic, and let that future, steadier version of you do the thanking. Thanks for watching, see you in the next video.